All right, y'all. So in this week's video, I wanted to speak to you about my wake-up call as a giver. My wake-up call as a giver. So anyone who knows me well enough, knows that I truly enjoy giving. Giving gives me life. If you have worked with me in any capacity from my initial days of working in marketing for an automotive marketing company out in Pleasanton, California. I would bring donuts on Fridays. I would bring, at that time, I was the primary cook, and I would bring leftovers that we had from dinner because it was just my husband and me, but I didn't know how to cook for just the two of us. Um, Presently, you've probably received breakfast from me or lunch or a random like Costco treat because I'm also a foodie. I enjoy giving. If you have worked for me in any capacity, you've probably received a random lunch or a random custom gift or a spa day along with me just to show my level of appreciation. And also it just gives me a great deal of light and excitement and joy to be able to give. It is, I probably get more fulfillment out of it. Like I think most people, if you're hungry and somebody's bringing you a croissant in the morning, like, yeah, there's some immediate gratification. But for me, there is deep gratification for being able to give because that's just how God has programmed me. I will say, and my husband can attest to that as well, just having been with me for a significant amount of time. But I will say there have been some things that I've had to learn the hard way, both in just reflection of myself and areas of improvement in my thought process behind giving, and then some unanticipated, I will say, lessons. So there is a tricky balance between giving and enabling people. There's also a tricky balance between giving and then practicing good stewardship. Um, Sometimes people are in need, and I certainly have been on the opposite end of that equation. I've certainly been in position of receiving help, um, receiving help from people along the way, along my journey. Entrepreneurship is not an easy task, and I have fallen many times over. I've had a number of businesses, and God has granted me with mercy and grace and people to show up and to unite and help me to get through various periods, periods of my life. And I'm not just talking, financially. We think giving and it's automatically like a monetary connection to it, but I'm saying giving time, giving monetarily, giving, um, just like space and time and an ear. I've been on the opposite end of needing that. If you've lived this world, this life, any significant amount of time, I'm sure that you can attest to it as well. There are also times when like you might be a giver, like if you're truly a giver, you're also giving to people who haven't asked you for anything. There's a number of people in my life, countless people in my life that I thoroughly enjoy giving to, and they don't need anything at all. They haven't asked for anything. They're not in a position of need, but because of what I feel for these individuals, I think of them, and when I think of them, it's often by way of something that I know that they're into. It could be a lipstick, it could be a gift card to a restaurant that I know that they frequent. It could be just a simple text message to say that, hey, I love you, I'm thinking about you. It could be, I can go on with those examples, but I was committed not to babble as much on this video because I babbled a great deal on last week. But y'all hang with me. I am just getting acclimated to this format. Nevertheless, so I'm not talking about I'm not talking about those examples that I share, the person who is either in need um, or the individual that you just want to give to because you love them and that's how you show up. I'm speaking to those specific situations where, and I can imagine, I don't know this for sure, but I can imagine many of you understand, especially if you are a man or woman of faith, that, Jesus fulfilled immediate needs in order to get the ear of the people. And so there have been times when, so not only does it um bring me a great deal of joy to give, also there have been situations where people can't hear you if they don't know where their next meal is coming from. And so there have been professionally, which in my profession often intersects with my ministry, there have been situations where I felt the need to respond in an effort to respond by way of providing that need, um, as a means of fulfilling the need so that I could ultimately get that person's ear to somehow motivate them to think about all of the possibilities, all of the greatness within them. And I failed in that over and over and over and over again. And it was a wake up call. It was a wake up call in that people, like, change is an intrinsic action. Change comes when one decides that internally they want to change something about their life. It's not anything that any one person can say or do, a need that can be filled that will then motivate one to then change whatever it is, whatever the circumstances are, whatever the outlook that they have on themselves might be. Your action of fulfilling a need is not going to be the thing. It's not. Change does not happen until one is ready. And that was my wake up call as a giver, that you can give until you're blue in the face. And that's a beautiful thing. God wants us to be cheerful givers. But don't think that that action alone is going to cause someone to change. Change is an internal, intrinsic process. And you can be there for someone, you can be a listening ear, you can fulfill a need, but it's an internal thing. All right. Thank you. Bye.